My name is Lily. I am 10 years old. Tonight is my school Christmas party. I have been excited about this for 2 weeks. 2 whole weeks of thinking about it. 2 weeks of planning what to wear. 2 weeks of talking about it with Nong and Beam at school every day. And now tonight is finally here. My school has a Christmas party every year in December. Thailand is not a Christian country. Most people here are Buddhist. But Christmas is fun. The lights and the music and the food and the games. Everyone enjoys these things. Our school uses the Christmas party as an English activity. We speak English at the party. We sing English songs. We play English games. So it is learning and fun at the same time. I think that is a very good idea. The party is at school in the big hall. It starts at 6 o'clock in the evening. It finishes at 9, 3 hours of Christmas. I have been ready since 4:30. I was dressed and waiting by 5 o'clock. My mum told me I was 1 hour early. I said I knew. She said I could help her in the kitchen while I waited. I said my outfit might get dirty. She said I could wear an apron. I wore an apron and helped her make the food we were bringing to the party. Let me tell you about my outfit. My school said to wear something with red or green, because red and green are Christmas colours. I have a red dress. It is not a special dress. It is just a dress that is red. But tonight it is my Christmas dress. I put a green hair clip in my hair, a small clip with a tiny bow. My mum said I looked very nice. Ya looked at me for a moment and said pretty. Just that one word. But from Ya, one word means a lot. Tom wanted to come to the party. Tom was not invited. The party is for the older students. Tom is in the baby class. His class had their own small Christmas activity in the afternoon at school. They made paper Santa hats and sang one song and ate cookies. Tom said his party was better than mine because they had cookies. I said our party would also have food. He said, but did we make our own hats? I said no. He said then his party was better. I decided not to argue with him. My mum made 2 dishes to bring to the party. At our school Christmas party, every family brings 1 dish of food to share. It is a potluck. Potluck means everyone brings food and you put it all together and share. My mum made pad thai, the famous Thai noodle dish with egg and bean sprouts and peanuts and lime. She made it in a big pot and put it in a large container to carry. She also made a plate of fresh spring rolls, rice paper rolls filled with vegetables and glass noodles, with a sweet chili dipping sauce on the side. These were my idea. I told my mum that spring rolls look very pretty on a plate and they are easy to eat at a party. My mum said that was a good idea. I felt very proud. At 5:45, my dad drove us to school. My mum sat in the front with the food containers on her lap. I sat in the back. Tom sat next to me, still in his pajamas because he was not going anywhere. He waved at me from the car window when we drove away. He looked a little sad. I waved back. I felt a tiny bit bad. Just a tiny bit. We arrived at school. The school hall looked completely different from normal. Normally it is just a big empty hall with a stage at one end. Tonight it had decorations everywhere. Long strings of red and green and gold paper chains hung from the ceiling. There was a Christmas tree in the corner. A fake tree, green plastic, but decorated beautifully with gold and silver ornaments and small blinking lights. There were round tables covered in white cloth. Each table had a small candle in the middle. Electric candles, not real ones, because real candles in a school were not allowed. And everywhere there were fairy lights, small white lights along the walls, around the windows, around the door. The whole hall glowed softly. I stopped at the entrance and looked at it all. My mum bumped into me from behind because I stopped suddenly. She said, "Lily, walk." I said, "One moment." I wanted to remember it exactly like this, the first moment I saw it. We put our food on the long table at the side of the hall. This was the food table. Already there were many dishes there. I looked at them. Rice dishes, noodle dishes, fried things, salads, and at the end of the table the dessert section. Cakes and cookies and small sweet things. Someone had made a cake decorated to look like a Christmas tree. Green icing with small red and yellow dots for ornaments. It was not perfect. The icing was a little messy, but I thought it was wonderful. Nong and Beam arrived at the same time, coming through the door together. Nong was wearing a green top and black trousers. Beam was wearing a red skirt and a white blouse. She had drawn a small Christmas tree on her hand with a green marker pen. I said, "Beam, you drew on your hand." She said, "Yes, it is a Christmas tattoo." "It is not a tattoo," I said. "It is a drawing on your hand." She said, "It is a Christmas tattoo and it is beautiful." I looked at it. It was actually quite a good small Christmas tree. I said, "Okay, it is beautiful." She said, "Thank you. Do you want one?" I said, "Yes." She drew a small star on my hand with the green marker, a 5-pointed star. My mum saw it and made a face. I said it was a Christmas tattoo. She made the same face. I think this is where Tom gets his face from. The party started at 6 o'clock. Our English teacher, Teacher Anne, stood at the front of the hall with a microphone. She is a young teacher with short hair and round glasses. She always looks happy. Tonight she was wearing a Santa hat, a red hat with a white fluffy border and a white ball on the top. She looked very festive. That word, festive, means full of celebration and happiness. Festive. She said, "Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Christmas party." She said tonight we would eat and play games and sing songs and have a wonderful time. Everyone clapped. Tom would have clapped the loudest. But Tom was at home in his pyjamas. First, we ate dinner. Everyone walked to the food table and put food on their plates. I took some of my mum's pad thai. I took a spring roll. I took some fried rice that someone else made. I took a small piece of chicken. I found a seat at a table with Nong and Beam and 2 other friends from our class. A girl named Ploy and a boy named Crit. The food was wonderful, not because any one dish was the best food I had ever eaten, but because it was food that many different people had made and brought together. Every dish had someone behind it. Someone's mom or dad or grandmother who spent time in the kitchen to make something nice for the party. I thought about that while I ate. All these different hands that made all this food. All this love in the form of food on one long table. Beam ate 3 spring rolls. She said they were the best thing at the party. I said my mum made them. She said, "Please tell your mum she is a genius." I said I would. Crit ate everything on the table. He went back 3 times. He is a very enthusiastic eater. Teacher Anne said, "Crit, please save room for dessert." Crit said he had a separate stomach for dessert. Teacher Anne said that was not how bodies worked. Crit said he was pretty sure it was. Teacher Anne laughed. After dinner, we played games. The first game was called Secret Santa. In Secret Santa, every student brings one small gift. The gifts are put in a box. Each person takes one gift from the box without knowing what is inside. You do not know who bought the gift, and you do not know what you will get. It is a surprise. I had brought a small gift. I spent a long time thinking about what to bring. The rule was the gift had to cost less than 100 baht. I bought a small notebook, pale yellow with a simple cover, and a set of 4 coloured pens. I wrapped them in red paper and tied a green ribbon around them. I put them in the box when I arrived. Now it was time to take a gift from the box. Teacher Anne held the box above her head so we could not see inside. We each reached in and took one package. Some were big, some were small, some were wrapped neatly, some were wrapped in a way that suggested the person had never wrapped a gift before. Those were my favourite ones. The imperfect wrapping full of effort. I took a package. It was small and round and wrapped in gold paper. I could not guess what it was. I held it and waited until Teacher Anne said, "Okay, everyone open your gift at the same time. 3, 2, 1. Open." I pulled the gold paper off. Inside was a small snow globe, a glass ball on a white base. Inside the glass ball was a tiny Christmas scene. A small house, a small tree, a small figure standing outside the house, and white glitter that moved when you shook it. Snow. Fake snow inside a glass ball. I shook it. The white glitter swirled up and then drifted down slowly, covering the tiny house and the tiny tree, snow falling in a tiny world. I had never had a snow globe before. I did not know who gave it, but I held it and watched the fake snow fall, and I thought, this is a perfect gift. Not because it was expensive, but because it was small and magical, and it made me feel something. Nong got a set of coloured sticky notes. She was very happy. She loves organising things. Sticky notes are perfect for her. Beam got a small stuffed bear wearing a Santa hat. She named it immediately. His name was Klaus, as in Santa Claus, but just Klaus. She said Klaus was her new best friend. Nong and I said, "What about us?" Beam said Klaus did not leave her out of movies. Nong went very quiet. I laughed. It was okay. We were all okay now. The second game was a Christmas quiz. Teacher Anne asked questions about Christmas. English questions. We had to answer in English. The questions were not too hard. What colour is Santa's suit? Red. What animal pulls Santa's sleigh? Reindeer. What do you call the song people sing at Christmas? A carol. What is the name of the famous Christmas story by Charles Dickens? A Christmas Carol. What do children hang by the fireplace for Santa to fill with gifts? A stocking. Our table did quite well. Crit knew many of the answers. He watches many English movies and television shows, so his English listening is very good. Ploy knew the answer about stockings. I knew the answer about Charles Dickens because I had read about him before. Beam raised her hand for every question, even when she did not know the answer. Teacher Anne called on her twice. The first time, Beam's answer was correct. The second time, her answer was, with great confidence, a penguin. The answer was not a penguin. The answer was an elf. But Beam said it very confidently and everyone laughed, and Teacher Anne said, "Good try, Beam." Our table came second in the quiz. The winning table got a small bag of sweets each. We got a slightly smaller bag of sweets each. I ate mine during the next part of the evening. They were good sweets, round and hard and a little sour. the kind that makes your mouth water. Then it was time for the performance. Some students had prepared something to show at the party. 3 girls from the grade above mine danced to a Christmas song. They wore matching red outfits and they had practiced a lot. Their dancing was very good and everyone clapped loudly at the end. Then 2 boys played a song on the guitar together. One boy played the melody and one played the chords underneath. The song was Jingle Bells. They played it a little too fast, but they were smiling the whole time, and that made it wonderful. Then Teacher Anne called some names. My name was one of them. Nong's name too. And Beam's. And 6 other students. We had been chosen to sing a song together. We knew about this already. We had practiced at school 2 times during lunch break. The song was called Last Christmas. It is a famous Christmas pop song. The words are about love and feelings and winter. It is a beautiful song. I was nervous. I am always nervous before I perform in front of people. My hands get cold. My heart goes fast. I take deep breaths. This time I held my snow globe in both hands backstage. I shook it and watched the snow fall and I breathed slowly. We walked out to the front. Teacher Anne gave us each a small microphone. Not a real microphone, a pretend one made of cardboard covered in silver paper. But it felt official. We stood in a line. The music started. We sang. My voice was small at first, but then it got a little bigger, and then bigger. Around me, my friends were singing too. Nong sang very properly and correctly. Beam sang with great feeling and not always the right notes. But she sang with so much joy that it did not matter. By the second verse, I was not nervous anymore. I was just singing, just standing in a line with my friends, in a room full of fairy lights and Christmas decorations and parents and teachers and classmates, singing a song in English about winter and love. We do not have winter here. We do not have snow except in a small glass ball, but we have this. This warm room, this music, these people, this night. And that is its own kind of beautiful. Everyone clapped at the end. Loudly. My mum was clapping very loudly. I could see her from the stage. She was smiling the big smile, the one where her eyes smile too. My dad was clapping and nodding. I waved at them from the stage. My mum waved back, very enthusiastically, a little embarrassingly. But I did not mind. I was glad she was there. After the performance, we had dessert. I went to the dessert table. The Christmas tree cake was already half gone. I took a small piece. The icing was sweet and a little thick. The cake inside was soft vanilla. Someone had put a tiny plastic Santa on top of the piece I took. I ate the cake and held the tiny Santa and thought, this is a very good evening. Beam found a tray of Christmas cookies. Star shapes and tree shapes and round shapes decorated with red and white icing. She took 4. She said they were for research, to determine which shape tasted best. Her research concluded that the star shape was the winner. She did more research, she took 2 more stars. Teacher Anne came to our table. She sat down with us for a moment. She asked us if we had enjoyed the party. We said yes, very much. She asked which part was our favourite. Nong said the quiz. Crit said the food, obviously. Ploy said the dancing performance. Beam said the cookies, specifically the star-shaped ones. I thought about it. I said the singing. Teacher Anne smiled. She said, you sang beautifully. I said, thank you. I felt warm in my chest. She said, do you know why I like Christmas? We said no. She said, because it is a time when people try to be a little kinder, a little more generous, a little more warm. She said, "In everyday life, people are busy. They rush past each other. They do not always notice each other. But at Christmas, people slow down a little. They give gifts. They say thank you. They sit together." She said, "I think we should try to do that all year, not just in December." I thought about what she said. A little kinder, a little more generous, a little more warm. I wrote it in my mind to write in my green notebook later. At 8:50, parents started arriving to take their children home. The hall was becoming quieter. The fairy lights were still on. The Christmas tree was still blinking. Someone was slowly putting the leftover food into containers. My dad came first. He stood at the door and waved at me. I waved back. I was not quite ready to leave. I looked around the hall one more time. The lights, the decorations, the tables with the white cloths, the Christmas tree in the corner with its gold and silver ornaments. Nong came and stood next to me. She said, "Good party." I said yes. "Very good party." She said next year we should be the ones to organise it. I said we were not old enough. She said by next year we would be 1 year older. I said that was true. She said so we could suggest ideas to Teacher Anne. I said okay, yes. We could suggest ideas. She nodded. Already planning. Always planning. Beam came and hugged us both at the same time, one arm around each of us. She said, "Best Christmas party ever." I said, "You say that every year." She said, "And every year I am right." I thought about that. Maybe she was right. Maybe every year the Christmas party is the best one yet, because every year we are a little older and we understand a little more and we feel a little more deeply. My dad drove us home. My mum sat in the front with the now empty food containers. Most of the pad thai was gone. All the spring rolls were gone. Beam had been right. My mum was something of a genius. I sat in the back and held my snow globe. I shook it gently. The white glitter swirled up and drifted down over the tiny house and the tiny tree. In the glass ball, it was always snowing. Always a perfect small winter inside. I thought about how we do not have winter here, but maybe we make our own, with lights and music and food and singing and friends in a warm room. Maybe that is our winter, our warm Thai Christmas winter. Tom was still awake when we got home. He was sitting on the sofa in his pajamas watching television with Ya. He looked at me when I came in. He said, "How was the party?" I sat down next to him. I said, "Very good." He said, "Better than my party?" I thought about the singing and the snow globe and Beam's Christmas tattoo and Teacher Anne saying, "Be a little kinder, a little more generous, a little more warm." I said yes. Better than your party. He said that was impossible because his party had cookies. I said our party also had cookies. He said, "What shape?" I said stars. He said, "What else?" I said trees and circles. He thought about this seriously. He said, "Okay, that is pretty good." Then he leaned against my arm and went back to watching television. Ya looked at me over his head. She looked at the snow globe in my hand. I held it up to show her. I shook it. She watched the snow fall inside the little ball. Her face was soft and a little far away, like she was remembering something. Then she nodded once and smiled. I went to my room. I put the snow globe on my windowsill, next to the blue fabric flower from the market, next to the small painting from Chiang Mai, next to the crystal dish, which now had small pale blue crystals growing in it. Finally, after many patient days of waiting. I looked at my windowsill full of small things, a fabric flower, a painting, a crystal dish, and now a snow globe with a tiny winter inside. I picked up my green notebook. I wrote tonight's date at the top of a new page. Then I wrote what Teacher Anne had said. Try to be a little kinder, a little more generous, a little more warm. Not just in December, all year. I read it back. I underlined it. Then I wrote one more thing. I wrote, tonight was a good night. The lights were beautiful and Beam drew a star on my hand and we sang Last Christmas in front of everyone. And I was nervous and then I was not nervous and someone gave me a snow globe and now it is on my windowsill and it is always snowing inside it and I think that is a perfect small magic. I closed my notebook. I turned off my light. The snow globe caught the light from the window for a moment, a small glimmer of white in the dark room. I closed my eyes. The street outside was quiet. Somewhere very faintly I thought I could hear music. Maybe from a neighbour's house, maybe just in my imagination. Something that sounded a little like a Christmas song, soft and far away in the warm December night.